Ron is going to go first. Full disclosure, Ron is a part of the hybrid group. The hybrid group has sponsored every one of these things. That's not why he's speaking here. He's hugging me because he's paid a lot of money for that hug.
It's because this is a thing worth doing.
Thanks, buddy. So Ron gave a talk last time at Future about some robots, and it looks like he's pulling a bag out with some visual aids. Are there robots?
I have a robot with me.
Yes. Okay. So last time was Future, and I was like, you can't talk about the future without like robots. So he brought some out. He played the game of life with some little robot spheros. And he's going to give us a 5-minute jam. I'm going to go...
yeah, definitely time this. Cut me off.
Eli's going to time it. I'm going to go nicely ask some skaters to be quieter because I could hear them out there. Have fun.
Hi, everybody. So recently I came back from New York City where I was an attendee at the DARC conference, which was the Drone and Aerial Robotics Conference. It was the first global conference that brought together technologists, business, academia, journalists, activists, and government all together in one place to talk about this new industry. Except for one small problem. Due to the government shutdown, none of the representatives from NASA, the National Oceanics and Space Administration, the FCC, FAA, none of them were able to attend, unfortunately. We talked about doing a little collection to raise some money to fly them in. Then we realized, oh yeah, we already did that. It's called taxes. So it was a fantastic conference. It brought together, literally on one extreme, we had the Patrick Egan, who is one of the heads of the Association for Unmanned Vehicle Systems, which is the main lobbying group. He's the Silicon Valley chapter president. On the other extreme, we had the Granny Peace Brigade, which was a fantastic group of elderly individuals who had made a fantastic scale model replica of a Predator drone that they were using outside as they were picketing and protesting the conference. So it was really quite interesting. The first day, there was a couple of panel discussions. One was called Life Under Drones. It was moderated by Tara McKelvey, who is a journalist at the BBC. And one of the particular people on that conference was Medea Tahir, who's an independent journalist who has covered a lot of the drone strikes that have taken place in Pakistan and Afghanistan and has interviewed a lot of the families and, you know, really brought a human side to the technophilia, as she put it, that we roboticists tend to have. Then there was, right after that was a conference called A Right to Drones. And that was actually moderated by Leah Rosen from the Freedom of the Press Foundation, and the aforementioned Patrick Egan was one of the panelist members there. So we really had an enormous spectrum. What was interesting about these people is that none of them were really talking about the same thing. This term drone has come to represent a cultural identity outside of the robotics or outside of even the military. In fact, I spoke at some length to the members of the Granny Peace Brigade. They were wonderful, lovely people, and really they were anti-war, not anti-robot. So let's throw that out there. Anyway, the keynote speaker was Daniel Suarez the first night. Many people have read some of his books. He's a fantastic author. He wrote a great book called Kill Decision about kind of a near future possibilities. During his keynote, he called for an immediate international ban on autonomous robotic air killing machines. And he also called for a system of indelible license plates on drones. Think about that for a minute, technologists. The next day, the ending keynote was Dr. Missy Cummings. Dr. Missy Cummings, she was the first female fighter pilot for the United States Navy, and she is currently a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And I really wanted to ask Dr. Cummings a question. I wanted to ask her about what Daniel Suarez had mentioned the night before about this international moratorium on unmanned robotic killing machines. Unfortunately, I didn't get that opportunity because another man got the last question. He was a man I had spoken to. He was sort of an activist who had penetrated the security of the conference. Not really. Anybody could go in. They were really open. He was really impassionate, but unfortunately not especially articulate. So he wasn't able to ask the question that I wanted to ask, which was, what do you think, Dr. Cummings, about the feasibility of this? What do you think about the feasibility of having an indelible license plate? The thing that Daniel Suarez had been concerned about was what's going to happen when some non-governmental organization takes some kind of automated flying robot and uses it for some kind of attack? And then the plausible deniability. What government was it? Maybe it was a government claiming it was some outside organization. How will we even know? The potential for geopolitical destabilization was the thing that he was greatly concerned about. And I thought Dr. Cummings might have something to say on this subject, being that she was a military person as well as a professor. Unfortunately, I didn't get to ask that question about the feasibility of having an indelible license plate on drone technology. Those of us who've ever spoofed IP addresses know that's not going to happen. So the last day of the conference was the hackathon. None of the policy people, government people, lawyers, or any of the other people were there at the New York University's Institute of ITP, known as the Institute of the Up Until Recently Impossible. That was where we built drones that drew graffiti, literally using the new graffiti markup language standard. The first graffiti drawing drone was built there. But none of these people were there as we built this future that they were so concerned about. That was the collapse. Thank you.